America's top security officials are also on Capitol Hill today. They're testifying before the House Intelligence Committee in their annual worldwide threats hearing. And Russia's invasion of Ukraine is a top focus there, as you might imagine. NBC News national security correspondent Ken Delanian has been tracking this hearing for us. Ken, what are these officials saying about that war in Ukraine?
Aaron, they are painting a sobering picture of the carnage there. And one thing that jumped out to me was Lieutenant General Scott Barrier, the director of the Defense Intelligence Agency, said that U.S. intelligence agencies estimate that between 2,000 and 4,000 Russian troops have already been killed in action in the 2 weeks of this war. Now, that was an estimate with low confidence, but it's consistent with what's been out there. And that's a remarkable number. If it was in the upper range of that, it would exceed the number of Americans killed in 20 years of war in Afghanistan. And it really underscores how badly this war is going for Russia, which is another point that the intelligence chiefs were making. CIA Director Bill Burns was asked just moments ago about Vladimir Putin's mental state, and he said that he wasn't crazy, but he's become increasingly isolated, and that makes him more difficult to deal with. Take a listen to what else the CIA Director said about Putin's state of mind as he approaches this war.
I think Putin is angry and frustrated right now. He's likely to double down and try to grind down the Ukrainian military with no regard for civilian casualties. But the challenge that he faces, and this is the biggest question that's hung over our analysis of his planning for months now, as Director Haynes said, is he has no sustainable political endgame in the face of what is going to continue to be fierce resistance from Ukrainians.
So they're saying Putin has no endgame, but at the same time, they are seeing no way out for Putin, that he feels like he has no choice but to pursue this to the bitter end. And they're also saying that Ukraine has the ability to sustain an insurgency for some period of time, Aaron.
And Ken, I want to ask you about other parts of the world. Yesterday, obviously, we talked about North Korea on this program. What are the other threats that the U.S. is also looking at and discussing as a part of this hearing?
Right. So this is the annual worldwide threats hearing, and they prepared a declassified intelligence assessment weeks before Russia invaded Ukraine, and it focused on exactly what you think it might, the top threats facing the United States, which is adversaries such as China, Russia, of course, North Korea and Iran, and threats like global health in the third year of a pandemic, and climate change, which is increasingly posing a national security threat, and the threat that all those adversaries pose in terms of cyber attacks and cyber espionage. What's interesting, Aaron, is that for years, those threat assessments were dominated by the threat of international terrorism, and you see very little now. That threat has really abated in the face of all these other dangers from our nation-state adversaries, Aaron.
All right, Ken Delanian for us in Washington today. Ken, thank you.